ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, oh God, I'm checking out a movie from 2014. That movie is My Little Pony Equestria Girls, Rainbow Rocks. I can feel the bile rising, guys. A little bit of background as to why I'm covering this. You see, a few months ago, I put forth a challenge to my viewers. A challenge that, for the most part, was handled on my Facebook page. My viewers met that challenge, and as per agreed, I'm going to have to review this and the sequel. God damn it. Now, for those of you who don't know what My Little Pony is, My Little Pony was a toy line and cartoon for little girls back in the 80s when they tried to bring it back. Instead of it being flocked to by little girls, it was flocked to by creepy, sweaty men in their 20s and 30s who then went out to thoroughly whack off to pictures of cartoon horses. And Hasbro, deciding to jump on that, decided to make a trio of films where the horses are turned into people, giving all of these losers even more beat-off fucking fuel. So, yeah, yippee. Oh, and of course they also did it so they could sell a bunch of brats, like Bratz-ish, Barbie-ish dolls to the scant few little girls who actually care about the fucking franchise. Oh, yippee. So, this is the second film in the trilogy. I covered the first one a couple years ago, and it thoroughly sucked fat throbbing dick for free. I have a feeling this one is not going to fare any better. This has something to do with like a battle of the bands or some such shit. Yeah, I kind of read the back a little. I'm going to tell you guys going in, I have no hope on this. The very fact that bronies saw how much I disliked the first film in this trilogy, and yet still outright demanded I watch more of the fucking show and watch the other two movies, that fills me with absolute dread. This is, I can feel it. This is going to suck. Now, it might not suck as bad as the previous film. In fact, I have high hopes that it won't suck as bad as the first My Little Pony Equestria Girls movie. However, I have a feeling that it's going to suck, and it's going to suck real bad, and you can tell I'm sort of stalling. I really don't want to watch this fucking thing, but god damn it, I said I was going to, so I've got to dive in. And so now, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out My Little Pony Equestria Girls. Let the cringing begin. Well, guys, I can say this much. The music is just as shitty as it was in the first one. God, this is fucking terrible. I mean, I totally understood that the soundtrack was going to be shit, because, you know, the first film was full of nothing but fucking worthless shitbag bubblegum fucking pop bullshit, but this just sounds a little, just a little bit worse, and that's kind of fucking depressing. You know, you'd think, after so much time had passed from the first movie to this one, maybe the characters would have gotten a bit more interesting. They might actually have some personality you can sum up in more than just one fucking word. No. Characters are just as shallow as they've always been. That actually makes this whole thing even more painful to fucking watch. God, why the hell did I fucking agree to do this? This is really starting to physically hurt me, guys. Alright, you know, guys, you would think that the writers wouldn't have to continue to hammer into the viewer's head that Sunset Shimmer was a villain in the first film. But no, they literally have had to bring it up every single time she's on camera. It's getting old. I'm sick and tired of hearing it. It doesn't have any real weight anymore. We get it. She was evil the first... God, no, guys, literally. This movie has been going for less than a half an hour. I've heard them bring it up, mention it, or reference it at least a dozen times now. Why Do you really think your viewers are this stupid? I mean, I totally understand that most fucking bronies are brain dead, but they're not this fucking dumb. You know, guys, when I started this and I said, let the fucking cringing begin, I was joking. I didn't really expect this thing to be this fucking... I literally, guys, have done nothing but physically cringe in this goddamn seat for the past 40 minutes. And I was not expecting that. I guess I was expecting the writers to try. I was maybe expecting the animation to not be some subpar fucking new... Some subpar Flash that would have gotten booted off of Newgrounds. I was expecting, you know, quality from something like this. Apparently, asking for quality is asking for too fucking much, and I know I've already said that it is getting painful, but it really, yes, guys, this movie is physically painful to watch. So, let me see if I understand this. When they put this movie out on DVD, they couldn't even be asked to put the thing in the correct order. I ask because a few minutes ago, we were up to the finals of this retarded Battle of the Bands competition, and our main character's little shitbag band was starting to fall to pieces. Then there was this sudden fade to black, and now we're up to the first round again. I'm going to assume that was a fuck-up in editing, and it's a massive one. That means that when they put this piece of shit out on DVD, they couldn't even be fucking bothered to, you know, actually properly edit the movie. That honestly guy has made a bad movie even fucking worse, and this horrendous music isn't fucking helping any. Well, guys, that was My Little Pony Equestria Girls Rainbow Rocks. God, that was fucking hellish. No, shut up. Just shut. Fuck you and your god-awful music. Jesus. Alright. You know what? This thing fucking wanted to, parade around as a fucking musical. Let's talk about the music. It sucks. There is no polite way of putting that. The music here is fucking abysmal. It's... Guys, first of all, I guess I need to stress, and this should be something I think everyone's sort of picked up on if they've listened to me talk about music for any extended period of time. I am not a fan of soulless, vapid pop music, okay? That is to say, almost all pop music from the last, say, 20 years, maybe, has all been vapid, soulless bullshit. This shit makes most of the current pop you hear on the radio sound insightful and deep. That is how soulless and mind-numbingly shit this music is. Every song sounds incredibly similar. Now, that doesn't shock me much when I look at the credits and I see every song was written by the same two fucking people. They apparently were taking notes from the Spin Doctors, whose one big rule of music was make every song sound the fucking same. And that's kind of what happens here. Every song sounds the fucking same. And even though we have different singers from different from each of the Canterlot High bands, they still all sound the same when all is said and done because they've all been auto-tuned in just such a way that even though they all have uniquely different singers, fuck it, they all sound the same. So, yeah, that was totally worth getting a whole crew of singers. They actually had a whole cast list of singers, I noticed, before I shut off the movie. Yeah, that makes total sense, go ahead and bring in all these singers and then auto-tune the fuck out of it so that way they all sound the same. Brilliance! So, yeah, as far as a musical goes, this sucked to me because, I kind of like something a bit more than worthless, vapid, soulless pop music. And, guys, you would think this thing's supposed to be like a battle of the bands, supposed to be like a big, tournament of bands. The only band we get to hear for any extended length of time who doesn't play just worthless bullshit pop is a pair of fucking wiggers who do this god-awful rap, and we get to listen to that for about 40 seconds. Oh, and then there's some cross-eyed weirdo playing a fucking handsaw at one point. That's it. That, honest to Christ, is it. And that means that there is literally zero variety here in terms of music. So yeah, musically, this movie is shit. I mean, I honestly don't even think that people who are into pop music are going to be able to get into this, because it's too vapid and soulless even for them, and that speaks fucking volumes. Anyway, let's skip past music. Let's talk about that writing. Holy shit. Did you guys know that in the first Equestria Girls film, Sunset Shimmer was the villain? I certainly hope that I certainly hope that you have the memory of a goldfish, because this movie is going to continue to beat you over the head with that fucking with that little plot point for almost the entire movie. Every single time that she is on screen, they have to mention that she was a fucking demon and the Twilight beat her, and that she was evil. And oh, did I mention that she was evil? Because she's totally evil. Not quite sure if you picked up on that, but Sunset Shimmer was evil in the previous film. Jesus, fuck. Okay, again, I understand that I understand that the target audience for this are little girls under, the age of 10. But most of them are not that stupid that they need the point bludgeoned into their head. And I know that most bronies, most of those 20 and 30-year-old men, are absolutely, are very close to being classified as mentally fucking special. But even they don't need it beaten into their heads that badly. And that's really the one thing that keeps coming up. And our characters, well, fuck, I guess, I just sort of guess that it's kind of sort of a tradition for these characters to not have any real noticeable personality that, cannot be summed up in more than one or two words. So nobody here has any real depth. And before anyone says, oh, well, I mean, you were going into this negative and you already knew that you were going to hate it, that doesn't mean that the writers couldn't have fucking tried. I mean, they could have given us more than, the redneck one is still just a redneck. The only thing that differentiates her from everybody else is her fucking accent. That, honest to God, is about the only thing that separates her and the purple prissy one. What the fuck's her name? Rarity? The only thing that separates them is their fucking accents, and one of them wears a cowboy hat, and one of them's into fashion. That's fucking it in terms of personality. And our new villains, the Dazzlings, or whatever the fuck they're called, what are they? Oh, well, they were sirens who are apparently able to brainwash people into being ultra negative, so that way they can feed on the negative energy, which apparently powers their amulets. And it doesn't work on our main characters because the powerful magic of friendship is so strong in them, and all this other stupid fucking bullshit. Do you guys happen to remember those of you with the unfortunate displeasure of having watched the first Equestria Girls movie? Do you happen to remember how it all ended? It all ended where they all just held hands and they just screamed, friendship! And Sunset Shimmer was beaten because, of course, Sunset fucking Shimmer was evil. I'm not quite sure if you picked up on that because, again, this movie wants to make that point real clear. She was totally evil in the first film, and they want you to know this. Basically, they do a musical version of that at the end of this. They play this really shitty song, which is identical to every other goddamn song in this movie, and then a big ball of rainbow friendship magic blasts off the amulets of the Dazzlings. Of course, though, you probably knew that. You probably knew that was coming. Speaking of poor writing, foreshadowing would have been nice. At least actual foreshadowing that was worth actually paying any fucking attention to. Because you totally know what song they are going to use. You know the source from which they're going to get the big song that wins everything. Because they sort of drop it. Because they basically drop hints to it about as subtly as one would drop a fucking bomb. But hey, again, target audience is supposed to be little girls around the age of 10. So I guess it kind of helps if you go, see, look, it's going to be from this. It's going to be because they don't play her songs. So naturally, it's one of her fucking songs that's going to win everything. Because fuck actually being spontaneous and surprising. No, Jesus fucking Christ. One of the few spots I cannot fault this movie on is acting. That's partially because our cast actually knows how to fucking act, and even though they're given a script with all the personality of Driftwood, at least they're able to put on a performance that's not too bad. I will never fault our cast here, because our cast at least did a good job. Now, mind you, going back to writing, as much as I can talk about how it's empty and it's soulless and it sucks, again, target audience, I am not a part of the target audience. And that is either target audience. I am not a female under the age of 10, nor am I a complete loser in his 20s or 30s who beats off the pony porn. I'm just a regular loser in his 30s who watches actual porn. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So naturally, this writing was not going to appeal to me. That much I kind of sort of knew going in. So as much as I can absolutely trash this thing, I do want to make it clear that if you are part of the target audience for this, you're probably going to really enjoy it. Part of that, I think, is because the acting is so fucking strong. Because if the script was this friggin' weak, and if children are a little bit more on, the ball and notice all the errors and faults and questionable shit that goes on in this movie, perhaps maybe then the bad acting would make them sort of focus more on the faults. The very fact that our cast actually turns in an awesome show, at least that kind of sort of makes the suckiness a little bit less brutal. Anyway, before I go further, before I talk about anything else, even though I can say that the target audience will like this, you're probably not going to want to buy the DVD, because there's a horrible editing flaw on this disc. I mentioned it earlier. I just sort of want to lay it here. I'm going to go into more detail towards, the end, because that's going to be the real determining factor on whether or not you want to buy this thing. So I just sort of thought I'd drop it there, because I wanted to kind of I wanted to remind myself to go into it when I get towards the end of this. So the acting here is decent. Our singing, guys, as much as I bitched about the songs being all the fucking same, the vocals actually are not that bad. Part of that is probably because they have all been auto-tuned to fucking hell and back, so that way they all sound the same. But it doesn't sound bad. The actual singing is really tight. It's just that the lyrics and the melody and the actual music behind it is so empty and soulless that I cannot get into it. So once more, I cannot fault the singers. I can just fault the songwriters for writing garbage. That's kind of sort of the same thing. Like, I can't fault the cast. I can just fault the writers for writing pig shit. See how? Do you have to see how this works? This movie, it's not. It is not totally terrible. It's just mostly terrible. Boy, is there anything else I can talk about? The fucking sound mix is okay. I can say that much. Animation, what the fuck? Why don't we touch on animation? I understand that this show was animated in Flash, but apparently something happened between the first My Little Pony, Equestria Girls, and this one, where the quality of the animation and the fluidity of the animation took a massive downward spike. See, I actually could kind of sort of applaud the animation in the first movie, because it wasn't terrible. It wasn't, it honestly kind of sort of lived up to the standard of those first couple episodes I watched before I jumped into that. But here, everything just seems to be a little bit stiffer. Everything's not nearly as well done. The animation here is subpar at best. And it just looks cheap. And I understand that you can't get miracles when you're animating in Flash, but for fuck's sake, I've seen better than this on, of all places, Newgrounds. And Newgrounds is almost all garbage all the fucking time. barring a scant few exceptions. But most of that shit looks better than what was here. That's absolutely shameful. So, when all is said and done, can I recommend Rainbow Rocks? Well, I sure as fuck am not going to recommend you buy it, and here is why. I mentioned earlier that at one point in the film, we don't actually get to see the Battle of the Bands competition. We basically get to see what looks to be a tournament bracket. All of a sudden, we are in the semifinals. And I thought, okay, perhaps maybe that was just them trying to cut all of the pointless fluff out, and we're going to get right up to our big final conflict. No, that was just poor editing on the part of the DVD here, because you see, as soon as we get up to the finals, and our main characters are all having a breakdown underneath the fucking stage, and are all arguing with each other, and their negative energy is seeping up through the cracks in the stage, because of course it fucking would. All of a sudden, we have this sharp fade out that just seems to come out of nowhere, and it comes in the middle of a shot. It had just changed shot for about half a second, and then it fades. Looked so out of place. Suddenly, we snap back to the fucking prelims of the fucking tournament, and now we get to watch the whole thing unfold in this really god-awful, horrendous music fucking video. And then when we get up to where the semifinals would have started, all of a sudden we smash cut back to the finals, back to where we lost. God, what the fuck is that? Sounds like a street sweeper. Real loud one too. I'm terribly sorry about that, guys. I honestly thought that fucker had already come through. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, the point is, I thought that they had cut everything except for the semifinals in order to help pace out the movie better. And instead, no, they just didn't put it in the right spot when they edited the fucking thing for DVD. So to buy it? Fuck no. There is no way I'm going to tell you to go out and buy a DVD of a movie that isn't even edited properly on the goddamn disc. And it obviously was not a stylistic choice. It is very clearly misedited on this disc. So fuck this disc. Pirate it if you have to. You might actually get a better edit. And at that point, only if you're a fan of this franchise. And I don't care if you are a 10-year-old girl. I don't care if you're a 27-year-old loser. You're probably going to like this because you are one of the two target audiences this thing is fucking pandering to, and that is totally fine. You guys are going to love it. If you're curious about this franchise, no. I have seen very little of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. This is the worst I've seen from it. This is absolute trash. Speaking of trash, that is exactly where this fucking thing is going. Believe it or not, I had to buy this thing on Amazon. Cost me about $2. Plus, like, $4 shipping. So $6 flushed on this fucking thing, and that's $6 I'm never going to see again. Because even if I were to trade this thing in somewhere, I might get about 50 fucking cents for it. And I'm not about to trade in a movie that isn't even edited correctly when it was put on the disc. It's not worth that. And I would not subject that even to a total stranger. So fuck this thing. If you guys absolutely want to watch it, do not watch the fucking DVD. This piece of shit is not worth it. Go and try to find it on YouTube. Go ahead and fucking download it off of fucking Pirate Bay. Who knows, perhaps, maybe it's on Netflix. Perhaps, maybe, just maybe, the thing is actually edited properly on Netflix. But avoid the fucking DVD. The DVD is bullshit. And, I didn't really think about this when I was scheduling out this month, but I'm looking at the next movie, and, yeah, it's a movie based on another Girls franchise from the 1980s. And it's also very music heavy. The music from the original show was shit, so I have a feeling that the next episode is going to really suck. So I'm going to go drink heavily. I need to wash out the memory of this, and I need to steel my nerves up for the fucking next one. Oh my God. the fuck else do I have lined up? Okay, well, the rest of this month isn't looking too bad. I mean, and then of course I get to the end of the month, and then more of this shit. Fuck me dead. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this installment of Reaction and Review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.